After 2 days, let me caution you, दो गज की दूरी, mask है जरूरी. Take care. It's very important. If you are safe, then you can save others. If you are not safe, then you cannot save others. Very true. So we were doing at Constitution, why and how. There was a debate over constitution making in Nepal. It's here in my screen. I shared with you. Making a constitution is not always an easy and smooth affair. It's not easy. Let me tell you one thing. In fact, we took near about 2 years, 11 months, 18 days, more than 12 constitution we have read. Indian people, lot of people, near about 24 people, they read constitution for many years. Then they pick up the best things and they put into the Indian constitution. So making a constitution is not always easy and smooth affairs. And let me tell you one thing: Nepal is a monarchian country. Monarchy prevails over there earlier. Now it's democratic setup, but democracy is not very much successful over in Nepal. In other countries, our neighboring countries also. Now in Myanmar also, democracy is not successful. So let's come to the Nepal constitution. Nepal is an example of the complicated nature of constitution making. Since 1948, Nepal had five constitution in from 1948. नेपाल has had five constitution. नेपाल पांच बार constitution को बदल चुका है. 5 times it has changed the constitution. Those days are 1948. It's written over here. 1948, 1951, 1959, 1962, 1990. India's next neighboring country, Nepal, 5 times constitution been changed. India is another country just next to Nepal, right? Now from 1950 onwards, some provisions constitution was not changed. Yes, amendment was there because constitution is a living document. Whenever need is there, we have to change the constitution because time changes. Then and some amendments are there, some rule and regulation has to be changed, right? So, but all these constitutions were granted by the king of Nepal. When I told you it's a monarchian country, king of Nepal is written. I enlarge, yeah, king of Nepal. Fine. The 1990 constitution introduced a multi-party competition, so the king continued to hold final powers final powers in many respects. Who is having the main power here? Okay, now make the comparison. Then it will be very much clear for you. Who is having the main power in India? I think some of you will say that Prime Minister is having the main power. Somebody will say the President is having the main power. Right? No. Main power lies with the people of India. India is a democratic country. For the last 10 years, Nepal was faced with militant political agitation for restructuring the government of the country. From the 1990 onwards, constitution introduced a continued to hold final powers in many respects for the last 10 years. 10 years में बहुत कुछ change हो गया नेपाल के अंदर, right? Or in Nepal also militancy is also there, and due to that particular militancy, uh, power, lot of militant power is also involved in the politics. Right here, many time one of the royal king person of the royal family, he killed many people during the breakfast. The 1990 constitution introduced a multi-party competition, so the king continued to hold final powers in many respects. For the last 10 years, Nepal was faced with militant political agitation for restructuring the government of the country. The main issue was the role of the monarchy in the constitution. What was the bone of contention? मेन प्रॉब्लम क्या है? मेन प्रॉब्लम क्या सोच रहा है? लोग, the people wants that the power should be with them. The king don't want to share the power. Now the tussle is between the king and the citizens of Nepal, right? So the main issue was the role of the monarchy in the constitution. Monarchism, monarch, Raja, is always very powerful. His words are law in any country. I think you have already read Chandragupta Maurya, then Ashok Maharaja Ashok, Bimbasar, then Raja Porus, many countries, many kings and all. So Akbar also. So their words are the law. उन्होंने जो डिसाइड किया वही होगा उनके देश में. So whatever a Raja decides, the monarch decides in Nepal, he used to think that citizens should follow his instruction. Now, now citizens want that the power should not be ultimate with the king. He should share the power with the people, and the king don't want that democracy should prevail over there. लोगों की सरकार. Okay. Now, the main issue was the role of the monarchy in the constitution of Nepal. Some groups in Nepal wanted to abolish the institution of monarchy. Again, some groups of Nepal, here it is, some groups of Nepal wanted to abolish the institution of monarchy. Some groups of means some political parties, some political people. They want that these people, the monarch people, the monarch family, they should not rule. They should not rule the country because now the country should go for democracy because next neighboring country India is having a successful democratic setup and established republican from the government in Nepal. Others believe that it many be useful to shift limited monarchy. Now many people said monarchism should not be there. Number one, monarchism should not be there. Number two, some people think that there should be limited power of monarchism. Some people say monarchism should be there. राजा होना चाहिए. बट उसके जो पार है, उसके जो सत्ता है, उसके जो पार है, it should be limited one, right? And limited and monarchy with a reduced role of the king, and his role should be reduced. He should not interfere now and then into the king administration of the country. He should not all the time interfere, right? So the king himself was not ready to give up the power. How could person is very powerful? Let me and how if you say that give me your power, अपनी सत्ता मुझको दे दो, थोड़ा सा आधा हिस्सा दे दो. How can he will not give? No, sorry, he will not give because democracy is not there. Where after every 5 years you change the government. Fine. So the king himself was not ready to give up the power. He took over all powers in October 2002. 2002. In 2002, he took all the powers. Many political parties and organizations were demanding the formation of a new constitution assembly. The Communist Party of Nepal, MAIS, was in the forefront of the struggle for the popularly elected constitution assembly. Now, Maoist, yeah, they are the party, ma'am, another party, Maoist party. They want that the leader of the people, they should rule the country. Maoist people want. Finally, under the pressure of popular agitation, the king had to install a government acceptable to the agitating party. Now, it was a tremendous pressure on the king Then he said, he declared that he will share the power with the representative of the people. The king had to install government acceptable to the agitation party. कुछ उन्हें संधान, some dogmas, some principles he changed. The government has stripped the king of almost all powers. Now all the parties and trying to decide the manner in which a constituent assembly will be formed. Now, slow and steadily after good years, king was stripped off. उसको उतार दिया गया अपनी सत्ता से, and the Nepal government became a democratic form of government with the support of the party, Maoist party. Now, I was here, the substantive provisions of a constitution. It is a hallmark of a successful constitution. Yeah, it is a hallmark of successful constitution. Hallmark that it gives everyone in a society some reason to go along with its provisions. Whatever the rule and regulation in democracy, whatever the rule and regulations are there, people have to accept it. There is no other compromise, no compromise. When we say that, rule and regulations, we are the rulers. We choose our own rulers. Democracy by the people, for the people, of the people. By Abraham Lincoln. A constitution that, for instance, just give me a few seconds time. Yeah, here. I have to adjust the screen. A constitution that, for instance, allowed permanent majorities to approve permanent majorities to oppress minority groups within society would give minorities no reason to go along with the provision of the constitution. A constitution which says minority has no rights, that is not a democratic constitution. You know what democracy says? Majority should give the security to the minority. Here in India, minority as well as majority, they have all the same fundamental rights. Minority has their own provision for the for other rights also, apart from fundamental rights. Right? Fundamental rights के अलावा minority के पास कुछ और rights भी है. So what happens in non democratic government, for instance, they al- they allowed, for instance, they allowed permanent majority oppress. They allowed permanent majority को वो allow करते हैं कि वो जो नॉन मेजॉरिटी है, माइनॉरिटी है, उनको दबाया जाए. Right? That of systematically privilege some members of the expenses of others, or that systematically entrench the power of small groups in society, would cease to command their elegance if any group feels that if any group feels that identity is being shifted, they will have no reason to abide by the constitution. No constitution by itself which achieves perfect justice, but it has to convince some people that it provides a framework for pursuing basic justice. Justice will not prevail automatically. Here, many people, many times you will find that majority oppress the minority, and sometimes minority also oppress the majority, like it happened in South Africa. Who was minority? White government was in minority. Whom they oppress? Majority black people they oppress, or some other people also they oppress. So here, then there is no democracy. Democracy means everyone is equal before the rule and regulation, before the law. Do this thought experiment, ask yourself this question: What would be the content of some basic rules in society, such as they gave everyone a reason to go along with them. The more constitution preserve the freedom and equality of all its members, the more likely to be succeeded. Very important part. The more a constitution preserves the freedom and equality of all its members. Look, English a little bit tough over here. I'm explaining you. Constitution gives you every type of freedom. Constitution gives you fundamental rights. In that fundamental rights, one right is that free of expression. You can express yourself free. So freely. When आपको अच्छा लगती है government, you can say the government is good. If you think the government is not good, government is bad, obviously in a civilized way, you can say that government is not doing good up to the mark. Now, for example, now it's a lot of criticism now during the corona epidemic now, corona pandemic. Oxygen is less. Opposition party is pulling the legs of the ruling party, and ruling party is also there to he said it said that it is supporting all ailing people and supervising the oxygen distribution throughout the hospital. Fine. Opposition is also there, and non-opposition is also there. Ruling party is also there. You know, you cannot say that opposition will not be there. So the more our constitution preserve the freedom and equality, everyone is equal, freedom and equality of all its members, the more likely is to be succeeded, do as it happens in the Indian constitution. Right? ऐसा हमारे भारत के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में होता है. Broadly speaking, gives everyone a reason to go along with its broad outlines. After studying this book, one should be able to answer this question. Now, balanced institutional design. What is this? Constitutions are often subverted not by the people but by small groups who wish to enhance their own power. Well crafted constitution fragment power in society intelligently so that no single group can subvert the constitution. What do you mean by this? This is mean by this that India is a federal country. Example is there. India is a federal country. And what do you mean by federalism? When power shifted from central government to state government, from state government to local government, from local government to panchayat government. Right? So how many government? There are four government. You will ask another next jumping question that why four government? Why not one government, a central government? My dear friend, India is a vast country. 29 states, 7 union territories, 1,500 languages, 2,500 dialects. India is divided on the religion, on the languages. Every state is divided on the basis of language. How could you think that one principle of one state is same on the one principle of other state? Could not be possible. One state is never equals to the another state in India, basically. You know, here what we said that no government, federal government means no government should be very powerful that it becomes autocratic. It becomes autocratic. So no single group can subvert the constitution, or he cannot. Anybody cannot change the constitution, or and the changing of constitution is not there in India from 1950 onwards. Yeah, some amendments are there. So amendment is also very tough in Indian constitution. Amendment is very tough. It's not an easy job. So one way of such intelligent designing of constitution is to ensure that no single group or institution acquires monopoly of power, which I told you just now. It should not behave in autocratic way. Monopoly of power should not be there. You know, in many states, Congress government is there. Two or three states, CPI is there, Communist Party is there. Some good state majority, BJP is there. But in Lok Sabha, majority is also there, opposition party is also there. An opposition party always pulls the legs of the ruling party. So this is why it is so. So that the mistakes are highlighted, and one not should repeat the same mistake in the coming future. That's why we want that no government should be very powerful. That's why we divided the power. We are the federal government. That no government should be very powerful and behave in an autocratic way. Right? One way of such this is and so that no single group can subvert the constitution. One way of such intelligence designing constitution to ensure that no single institution acquires monopoly of power, which as I told you just now, this is of this is often done by fragmenting power. Federal government. One way to fragment मतलब तोड़ना, power को तोड़ना, power across different institutions. The Indian Constitution, for example, horizontally fragmented power across the different institutions like the legislature, the executive, and judiciary. What are the three parts of the government? Main three part of the government is first is legislature, who makes the law. Legislature, who makes the law. कानून बनाते हैं. Basically, all MLAs, MPs, they need MPs and all, they sit together and all opposition parties sit together and all, and they make some law. And making some law, that doesn't mean that is a law. That is a simple piece of a paper. When it passes through the channels and it becomes a law, then executive also there. Executive means who execute the law. Bureaucrats execute the law. And after executing the law, then the judiciary is also there to supervise that law has been, implemented. Toto means as it said, and it should be go through from one place to another place in a very systematic manner. And the judiciary and even independent statutory bodies like election commission. Here in India, election commission is very powerful. Now you see election commission's role in Bengal and other parts of the country where elections are going to be held, and elections are being held today. Is also in some part in Bengal, some elections are there, some same elections are there, and face after face. This ensures that even one institution wants to subvert the constitution, others can check its transgression. Suppose somebody wants to cross the limits of constitution. The constitution gives you some limits, and some group wants to amend the constitution. Then another group is also there to check that advancement, to check that advance. So an intelligent system of check and intelligent system of checks and balance has facilitated the success of Indian constitution. I told you, check and balance. There should be always check and balance. Balance should be there. Check should be there. If we all are human beings, and human beings are made of error. गलतियां होंगी, काम करोगे तो गलतियां होंगी, काम ही नहीं करोगे तो गलती कैसे होगी? But error are there, but we have to rectify the error. We have to check the error so that there is a balance in everywhere. If the balance is there, then there is always cool, calm atmosphere. Balance should be in your life. Balance everywhere. Balance should be there. So here we end it. About I told you about the constitution. It's taking time. It has to take the time. Tomorrow, some other part is there, right? Another part. So take care. Thank you.